Hey y'all, I am back with another episode of Make It Happen Sis, the podcast. Again, I'm Dominique Murray, your host, and every week I bring on a new member of Make It Happen Sis to discuss their business, their ventures, anything they got going on, and then we dive into a different topic. Today we will be focused on imposter syndrome and how we all deal with that. And in the chair today, I have the lovely Katrina Cohens. If you want to go ahead and present yourself, kind of give us your elevator pitch, your business.
All right. Very good. Well, my name is Katrina Cohens. I am a master life and leadership coach. I am the CEO and owner of Cohens Consulting Services LLC. And I work with women in leadership, helping them deal with leadership challenges, meeting goals, work life balance, just overall giving them support and motivation to do the things that they want to do and be successful in life, whatever that means to them.
Okay, and so how long have you been doing that? How'd you get started?
Well, with my own business, I have been in business for a little bit over 2 years.
Okay.
But it started, I've been blessed to have an amazing career. And in that career, I've, been in developing teams, been in leadership and helping people grow and develop, and discovered that I had the natural ability to motivate and inspire and help people reach their goals. So that's really something that I enjoy and love doing. So I decided, why wouldn't I, start a business where I can do this for other people, especially women. So yeah, so that's how I got started.
Okay, that's exciting. So with it, so you do like business coaching, life coaching. How I know a lot of times we get people get confused on like what a coach is versus what a coach isn't. Can you go into more detail on that?
Sure, sure. I also get a lot of what's the difference between a coach and a counselor. So basically, a coach like me help focus on your future. You know what it is you want to achieve in life, for as happiness, goals, relationships, business. I help provide structure and guidance because sometimes we have so many things that we have going on and so many goals that we want to achieve. So we have to narrow down our focus and be able to create a action plan so we can be successful. But a counselor, which is what a coach is not, focuses more on the past or dealing with traumas. A coach will, of course, listen to you, like where are you at right now, but we have to decide on the actions we're going to take to help reach your future goals. So that's basically coaching is helping you, go to the next level when you're feeling stuck or you're feeling overwhelmed. So we're providing the additional skills, support, motivation, and even sometimes accountability to help you achieve the goals that you want to achieve in your life.
Okay, and I know there's kind of been like a not an influx, but I think like coaching is becoming a business that a lot of people are getting into. Do you have any tips for women that are thinking about getting into coaching? What should they do?
I would say definitely you have to network. That's really crucial. Build relationships, provide support for others because you'll want the same thing in return. But definitely network and build relationships. You also have to be consistently putting yourself out there so you can build credibility and so people can understand and learn and know what exactly that you do, because normally they may not, they just kind of they know what they think you might do. But networking and relationship building and just getting involved in different things so people can learn about you and your business.
Okay. And then so you do the one-on-one coaching, group coaching, what are like events, like what other things do you?
Right. So I do some workshops as well. I did one called 3 C's of Leadership, basically talking about challenges, communication, just all of the things that you deal with when it comes to leadership. And that's whether it is in a career or whether it's in your own business. But it's so, and also I should say challenges. 3 C's was, the other one was challenges, and communication. And so basically it's, I also basically host retreats. I also host women empowerment brunches, and just encourage a lot of positivity, because we all have negative thoughts sometimes. And so just teaching people how to handle those negative thoughts, because it's really our body, our mind trying to protect us from the things that we feel like are coming. And then sometimes they will come, but a lot of times it's really not. It's just, so we have to learn how to deal with those things, whether it's positive self-talk, whether it's journaling, whether it's doing meditation, and just our overall mental health well-being. We have to be intentional about how we learn how to help ourselves. And one of the things I like to when I help women is teach them, because we're emotional beings, and sometimes situations, whether it's relationships or whether it's work, we'll get our emotions all stirred up. So sometimes the stuff that we are feeling is not really true all the time. We're just upset. So what I say is stick to the facts. When you start, before you actually respond and say a whole lot of stuff that we may not need to say or mean at the time, hold for a second, maybe even count to 10, and let's review what the facts are.
Right.
And then sometimes we will talk ourselves back down off of that ledge, because it may not be as bad as we think it was, or how we were actually feeling at the time.
Exactly. And I feel like if that got you triggered at all, then stick to the facts. I know, and I'm talking personally. I am one of those people. So yeah, definitely.
And I would tell you that's why having a mentor or a coach is so effective. I looked at it and said coaching has a 80% success rate, which is pretty high. And it can be even higher depending on the person that's involved. If you're engaged, if you're willing to do the work, and you're consistent, the percentage of that will even go up. But having the support, and your coach or your mentor is not having these emotions and feelings going on, so they can help you be more strategic and help give guidance without the feelings that you're actually feeling. So I feel like that's a lot of why it's so effective. We can see more clearly because we don't have those same feelings going on. Whereas you're like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed, or I'm stressed, and your coach or your mentor can be like, okay, we got this, let's talk about this, let's get us a plan together. And then everything kind of like, okay, it's not that bad, So that's why I would say coaching, and also depending on if you have a mentor, is really effective if you're willing to take the time out to invest in yourself. And that's time, not just money, because a lot of us, it's affordable, but just given the time commitment needed, and I just I tell women all the time, they be like, oh, I'm so busy, I don't have time. So are you not worth 1 hour a week? I think I'm worth a whole lot.
And I love how you said, it works if you put in the work and do it, right? Like, I think a lot of us kind of have this mentality. It's like, okay, I got a coach, fix it, like make the plan. And it's like, that's not how it works. Like, you have to be, just as into it, if not more, than the coach that you have or the mentor that you have, because this is your goals, your things, whatever you're trying to accomplish. So
right,
I agree with you 100% on that. So you do have an event coming up here soon, right? Do you want to talk more on that?
Yes. So I have a women's empowerment brunch coming up on August 5th at 11 a.m. at Serenity Entertainment Complex in Macon, Georgia. And it's called the Highly Qualified and Blessed Brunch. And so it kind of, in a way, kind of backdoors in what we're going to talk about today, because, it's so important that, everyone, not just women, even though this event is for women, to understand that you are so deserving of everything that you've been blessed with in your life. So you need to receive that, accept that, and no matter what is going on in your life, know that you deserve it, and don't question that, so.
Thank you. You're right. That it goes completely in today's episode, which you earned it, right? Dealing with imposter syndrome. And I know at one of your retreats, you've spoken on imposter syndrome before. Do you kind of want to give us kind of like the generic definition, then kind of more detail what you see that as with people dealing with imposter syndrome?
Sure. So basically, imposter syndrome is when you are highly successful. You have, high performing evidence of things that you are doing. You're successful, but it's only on the outside. What people see, you're doing amazing things, but on the inside, you don't feel that way. You feel maybe like a fraud, or, I just happen to luck up on this. And that's not true. Most of the time, there are triggers or different things that have caused us to feel that way. And the reason why I have, took the time to actually share or conduct workshops or present this during a retreat, most of the people that I, come in contact with, they are high performing, successful women and also men, but they just don't feel that way because of either lack of support, in some things that they've been doing, or we've also been taught that we have to work harder than everybody else. That's just something that's, sometimes been in our culture that we've been told. So that's what's in our mind too. And sometimes the culture that we've been dealing with, whether it's in the workplace or our business, where we've either felt bullied or things have been said intentionally or unintentionally that made us feel less than. So it's just like so many people feel this way, even though they're highly successful, but they get bullied either in the workplace or either personal relationships. So it does some type of damage where we don't feel like we're that successful.
And I appreciate you for putting that out there with the whole, like, in the workplace people do get bullied, because that does happen, right? Like, I know back when I was in the military, I dealt with a lot of different things, and I was questioning myself all the time because, so and so and so and so had this to say about what I was doing, and you couldn't accept kind of position you were in because other people were doubting it. But there is also, that kind where you just are doubting yourself. Do you think that over the years, has that been something you've ever dealt with, imposter syndrome?
I have, but I think most of it came from, situations or other, even women sometimes.
Can you go into more on that?
Yeah, so just, knowing, and I will have a saying that one of my uncles shared with me one time. I was kind of talking to him about a situation that I dealt with, and he said basically, because, we all have measurements that we go by, and the measurements and the performance metrics were always amazing. Like I said, I was able to, help people in turn, reach goals, which made my job, successful as well. But he would say, basically, liars figure, but figures don't lie. So, like, whatever that outcome is, those figures, what's on this paper, that's what counts. So that's almost like, he said it in a different way, but that's sticking to the facts. Like, no matter what you're feeling, no matter what they're saying, but what does the report say? True. But sometimes when you're in different situations and you even are performing well, people are not always going to be happy for you. So they're going to find something that's wrong or something, to say. And after a while, if this continues to happen, you do start to get self-doubt. And that, I have experienced that before. That's why I can speak on it. And, because if certain things keep happening, you start to, it starts to be like, okay, well, why does this keep happening? Like, maybe I am doing something wrong. Like, this, almost like the saying, like, when there's smoke, there's fire. You're going to think, like, after a while, like, something got to be wrong. Like, I must be doing something to keep these people saying and doing things, Right. So it does, like, so, it would be so easy to say, like, don't listen to them. But, when repeat situations keep happening, whether it's men or women saying things to you or situations coming up, it does start to affect you. And you do start to question, your abilities, because you don't automatically just start to think, well, this says this and, oh, never mind. No, we have feelings. We have a heart. And it does, start to affect you.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so important to get support. When things start going wrong, I always say this: don't wait until you get in crisis mode. Because the reality of it is you will start making mistakes. You will start doing things that can affect you in a negative way, because of your reacting, to certain things that may probably are not true. But, yes, definitely I have experienced it. It's not fun, but I'm not a person that's not, afraid to talk to people. Have a coach or have my mom or other family members, to support me in that way, to give me a reality check. Yeah. Like, you have a lot of experience. You've went to college. You've done a lot of great things. So you deserve to be where you are. You didn't get there by chance or by luck. And if it was easy, everybody would be there.
Right. Right. I think that's the one I have to tell myself sometimes. Like, it's not like, stop trying to diminish it and stuff. Oh, I agree. So you would say for you, the way you got out of it was the support from other people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Definitely. And so, again, whether that's a coach, whether it's a mentor, or whether it's someone else in business like you are, or whether if it's a career, to find someone that's in leadership that's been there, done that. Because I can guarantee you they may have experienced the same thing you've went through. So to understand and know that you're not alone in this, and we can support each other, that's so important. And so that's one of the reasons why I do group coaching as well. A lot of the ladies can relate to each other and share experiences and understand they're not alone, and it makes it easier just having that support and other positive people around you. So that's important as well, because if you're around negative Nellies all the time, they are not gonna help.
Ain't helping nobody. And I like how you said that, having the group coaching aspect of it, because I think what's kind of funny in those situations is when people start talking and then they're like helping each other, like, girl, don't you know you're this, and like, well, you are too, it's like it's so easy to help someone else, and then you like on yourself, you're like, oh no.
It really is. So group coaching, I would say, is a lot less about the coach. It really is. The coach is just the facilitator, or she or he is the one who gets everybody together and provides the structure for what needs to happen. But it really is the group that's helping each other. And even the coach sometimes. I really feel like I benefit almost just as much as my clients or whoever is participating in the group, because again, I've been fortunate to have a great career in a business, but has it been easy? No, but it is very rewarding. But even getting certified as a master life coach, I learned so much. I feel like I am even better, not just a better person, but with directing and being intentional about my own happiness, my own goals, because I learned so much. When you're learning how you can help other people, you're learning how to support yourself as well. So, but understanding that everybody needs somebody. So I'm never gonna isolate myself, because that's not good. It's unhealthy. And so, but the more, successful you are, the more intentional you have to be about connecting with people, because everybody assumes you're busy. You're great. She got the Superwoman cape on. We kind of talked about it. But you still need people. I still need relationships, great relationships like everybody else. So just being intentional, because you can get so busy until you lose yourself, and you can have success on your business and career side, but your personal life can totally be suffering.
Exactly. Kind of going back to what we were saying with kind of the causes of imposter syndrome, and one of it being maybe bullying or the naysayers and things like that. How do you feel about, like, there are those people that also, they have the crowd around them. They have the people that are cheering them on, telling them how great they are. They still can't see that themselves. What have you seen that with some of the people that you work with? People who it's kind of like a self thing. Like, it's just, can't nobody tell them anything. Like, they just know that, no, this is all luck or something.
Yeah, so some of the things that I would encourage them to do would be to celebrate their wins. Because a lot of times other people can celebrate you, but if you don't celebrate yourself, it's like you're still kind of doubting or having those feelings. So, and also to practice positive self-talk. You got to be those I am statements like I am amazing, I am worthy of everything that's good in my life. But also just, acknowledge, all the things that you've done. Like I said, all of the skills you have, whether you have education, the knowledge, so acknowledge all of the great things, you have going on. And so to just really reflect on how did I get here? It wasn't by chance. It wasn't by luck. I mean, some people, I would tell you the people who achieve success by luck or if they happen to be born in a family, I will tell you when they get it that quickly, they experience a lot of turbulence. They're usually very unhappy because you have not went through everything and worked your way up to you're prepared for that level of success.
Exactly.
So if you see and hear a lot in the news about how, some people that are very wealthy or have a lot of success from the outside looking in, but they have a lot of, turmoil on the inside because it came to them too quickly. They wasn't ready. And the pressure that they experience is overwhelming. Sometimes too much for them to handle.
Yeah. That actually is kind of off topic, but it reminds me of an article I was reading when it was about millionaire, when people win the lotto and things like that, and how like they go broke very quickly after because they're not prepared for that. Like they haven't done the work and they don't have the mindset and stuff. So I appreciate it. You said something else that I kind of wanted to go back to with the celebrating your wins and kind of like basically, and I don't think this is the right words, but like taking inventory of the things that you have accomplished, right? And so it's kind of a hypocritical moment on my part because I'm going to give some advice that I learned that I have not actually done. I remember years ago I had a mentor tell me like to make like a me book, right? They're like, get your notebook, like put all your awards and everything that you've been doing up to this point to kind of remind yourself of the things you do. And also, at the time it was in my career, so I was like, you have it at the drop when you need it. But I think that's something important, especially in entrepreneurship, because we're not reporting to anybody, right? Like we're not, and granted you have like your social media numbers and things like that, but if you're not actually like looking at that and like looking at your growth or looking at the different accomplishments that you've done, you can get lost in this just always grind mode where you gotta always win something and say, hey, you are winning, like this is what you're doing, look at what you're doing. So I think that definitely recognizing the things that you have accomplished up to this point. It's a great one. Now I do have a question because in preparation for the show and stuff, doing a little research and stuff, which is something I kind of just intuitively I felt like I knew. Why do you think that imposter syndrome is something that affects women of color more than other people, according to the statistics?
Right. Well, I think sometimes we can experience prejudice in different situations. Again, some bullying. If you listen to the news, there are still some wage gaps. So there's a lot of different factors. So I think we've improved some over the years where society has improved, but we still have a ways to go. Like we, still don't have equal rights or equal pay sometimes across the board in different, depending on whether it's the workplace or even if it's your business. They may not want to pay you, but we deserve the same thing that, everybody else gets, sometimes more, depending on our qualifications or educations. Right. And so, sometimes I think it's fear in us. And like I said, some of the things that we've heard growing up that we got to work twice as hard. So sometimes we sell ourselves short, and we may not be brave enough to ask for the things that we think we deserve or know we deserve because we do have some of those self-doubt things because of either how we've been treated or things we've experienced or things that we've been told. So again, that's why it's so important to have that support system, no matter how successful you become, or even if you're just beginning, to have someone you can bounce things off of, whether it's a coach, mentor, or if you have a supportive family member, but, to just, help along the way, but we do experience more challenges because if you think of even something simple as voting rights, who were the last ones to receive, the ability to vote? So it's kind of the same thing. Like, even if you, go to a large company, how many black women will you see in high level positions?
I love that you mentioned that. Like, I think representation is a huge factor in it, right? Like, if you don't see yourself in these spaces and then you get to those spaces, it's like, wait, is this a mistake?
Yeah, or do I belong here?
Yeah, like, it's not meant for it. And it is, kind of like, because that's not something we can change overnight, right? We've been working on years changing that. And even now, and I hate talking about kind of like negative statistics, but I mean statistics, especially in business and in entrepreneurship, still show we're the last getting funded. Like, even though we're the ones opening up all the businesses, like, we're not getting the same funding. And so there is definitely prejudice and discrimination, things that are happening, certain systems that are holding us back and that are helping that whole mentality of imposter syndrome. What would be your advice to women? I know we've kind of covered it over the whole thing, but like, what would you tell someone who, they have you as their coach and like, you know what, I know everything I've done, but I don't feel like I belong here, kind of thing.
Right. Well, the first thing I think of is you got to be willing to step out of your comfort zone. Because anything that's new to you, you're going to be uncomfortable with it. So you got to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone. Be willing to bet on yourself. And, of course, we like positive feedback. That gives us some encouragement. But you also got to, in the back of your mind, understand that you are not going to make everybody happy. You are not going to please everybody. And so you got to be willing to put yourself out there, and be consistent with the things that you're doing. And again, be willing to try new things. You just got to bet on yourself,
So true. So true. Kind of circling back because we got a little bit of time. So circling back to the event that you have coming up, and like you said, kind of parallels a lot with the highly qualified and blessed brunch. You have some speakers coming up there too.
I do.
So do you want to talk more on that? Or?
Sure. So I have 3 dynamic speakers that are women. So we have Dr. Tanya Cohens, and she's going to talk about know who you are, and I think that's such a great lead in to because you really need to know who you are, figure it out no matter what you're doing in life. We have Elder Arizona White, and she's going to be talking about you were built for this, And so it's so important for us to understand that we are resilient. And we can, we can be knocked down a couple times, but it's important for you to get back up, And then we have Elder Mashida Adams, and she is going to be talking about you are an asset. And so it's so important, for you to believe that you are. But it's another spin on that for you to keep your assets in order. And so as business owners, it's so important to have your personal finances in order, because if you don't have your personal finances in order, how are you going to keep your business finances in order? Exactly. And a lot of times we are either self-funding, and when you start off a new business, you got to be willing to invest in yourself, because you're not going to be making a lot of money right away. And again, if you're lucky enough to be someone who does, use it, don't last, or you will experience that turbulence that I talked about. And so, I will be honest and tell you, that's a lesson that I had to remind myself of, and not that I experienced the same thing, but I'm so used to being in an amazing career, and it's already set up so things would happen really quickly for me. I could turn things around really quickly. But when you have a business, it's a little different. You have to, build upon it, again, put yourself out there, do things to get exposure. You have to network, build relationships, even on top of the ones you already have, So it's a lot of work, but again, it's very rewarding. But things usually are not going to happen very quickly. So you have to be invested, and believe in, what you're doing and understand your purpose, and you will be successful.
I love that. I feel like it all kind of goes back full circle too, because when we're talking about battling with imposter syndrome and stuff, like you need to know who you are, right? You were talking about one of the ladies who was speaking, talking about knowing who you are, which kind of goes into knowing who you are, being invested in yourself, getting out, putting yourself, all of that. I think thinking about imposter syndrome and stuff, and what we were talking about with your brunch and everything, and all of the different aspects of it, kind of tie in with imposter syndrome, right? Like you have to know that you've earned it. You have to take inventory of the things that you do. And then I did kind of want to flip the script a little bit and go back to your coaching. With your group coaching, do you want to talk more on that and some of the things that you have with that?
Yeah, so basically I run a 12-week group coaching program, which is 3 P's of success. So basically we're talking about productivity, the process, and purpose. So which are all of the things that are so important, because of course once you find your purpose, you got to be productive and then you got to do your processes to make it all come together. And so we meet every Monday night at 8 o'clock. And Dominique is a part of that. So it's really all about, having structure, because, each Monday I have a PowerPoint that's put together, and we have an icebreaker to loosen everybody up and interact with each other. And then we'll talk about different topics. We also talk about different mindsets, because I think a lot of what we do, our mindset and how we go into it really will determine our success as well. So having a positive mindset is so important. And then we also talk about some wellness and self-care factors as well. And I think a lot of us that's participating in the group, we know these things, but again, we get so busy till we don't put them in place. So I think, the group is a healthy reminder of what we need to do to really take care of ourselves in order for us to be, successful in whatever our goals are, or our focus. But it's so important that we do take care of ourselves. And I think a lot of times as women, we don't put ourselves first. We think it's a selfish thing to do. And especially if we have kids. But it's so important to understand, when you're taking care of what you need to take care of yourself first. You're giving others the best version of you. So if you think about that, well, I can give my kids the best version, the best mom. Yeah. Or I can give my husband the best wife that's happy and loving, instead of, if I'm putting myself last, not taking time for me. He probably getting a grumpy wife. Yeah. Yeah, I'm stressed. He may be getting, the things that he asked for or wanted, but it's not in a necessarily a healthy way, and so it's so important, again, for us to take time out to focus on ourselves and put ourselves first, do self-care, take time to relax, recharge, and so we can be the best version of ourselves. So that's really what the group is about, trying to help us, like, at least once a week, we gonna take this hour, to like reel it back. This is what we need to do for us.
Yeah, and I love how you mentioned, like, it is things that we know, right? But it's like you said, just taking that time to intentionally really focus on that and talk about that, because like I had said earlier, that book that I was talking about, I have not actually done that, but like now that we're talking, it's like, okay, that's something. So these conversations are ones that need to be had all the time, right? We need to be reminding ourselves that we are worth it, that we have earned where we're at, and joining groups, being in support system, having mentors are a great way to do that.
Definitely.
Any other things that you wanted to talk about within your business?
All right. I do have a, I would say, free Facebook group that's called Courageous Women in Leadership. And I post weekly about leadership tips. I also post encouraging tips. And what I'm doing is really giving you both sides of the coin. Like I'm giving you the topic from a leadership position of probably the business owner or the person that's in charge. And then I'm flipping the coin to the encouraging tips so you can see the other side of it. So for example, if I talk about communicating effectively and, actually so your team can understand how they can work together better. Then on the encouraging side, I will talk about, being intentional about listening and understanding what needs to be done. And if you don't understand, it's okay to ask questions. So those two kind of go together because I think so many times, whether it's in business or in your career, we're given direction, but we really may not understand what needs to be done. So understanding, like, it's okay to ask questions if you don't understand or if you go in a direction that's not working out that well. Like, hey, I need help, can we go over that again? Or I need support. It's really okay to do that because a lot of times as leaders or business owners, if no one says anything, we think you good. This is what we put out there, the expectations. So we feel like this is what should happen. And so I try to show, both sides of it. So, it kind of, again, helps people think through it and maybe say, I didn't think of it that way. Because once you're, whatever position you're in, you're thinking of it from your view.
You're taking me back to my government days, and it used to, when in a leadership position, when you're giving information, like you said, if nobody says anything, like, you think everything's good, and then you get stuff back, and you're like, what happened here? And so that communication is key on both sides, right? Like, I think one thing that I learned, too, was making sure to act, like, do you get what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because sometimes we get caught in the way that we do things or the way that and it makes sense to us and it might not make sense to somebody else. So, and I was a huge offender of that. And then get mad, like, you didn't do what I said.
So, I do share that. I mean, I will share events in that group as well. I do also promote my business so people can understand more of what I do. But it's really to also encourage people. It's a way of, I feel like when you're blessed, which I feel like I know I am, that you should help people in a way that you can. And so this doesn't cost me anything. So why shouldn't I do it? It's just time, and being consistent. But I always know that, again, when you're being a blessing to someone else in a way that you will be blessed as well. I do believe that God has a plan for all of our lives. We just kind of have to find it. And, in business, that's what we have to do. We try different things, and eventually we know that what's working, that's the path that we should follow. In the beginning, you got to try sometimes a bunch of different things, and some of them, not gonna work. And so, I always encourage people, even with myself, if that doesn't work, I say, okay, well, that was a lesson, but I'm okay, so we just gotta try something else. And that's what I'll keep even doing myself. I try different things to see what works, what people need. And if, people don't respond to it, and I'm just like, okay, then we need to try something else.
Exactly. No, I get it. What did I say? So we are going to wrap it up here soon. But I did want to say, again, going back to the topic with imposter syndrome, things like that, people dealing with that, one of the easiest things, not easiest, one of the things that you can do, you can start implementing now is trying to get that support system. And like you said, you have the Facebook group. The group is free. That is another avenue to, see what other women are doing, hear them, you guys are sharing information, talking, and then people can talk to you and like, hey, what are you talking about? Like, this, you got to go on. So definitely something to check out. Katrina, if people want to, touch base with you more, talk more about coaching, possibly, how can they reach you?
Right. Well, multiple ways. My email is Katrina at CohensConsulting.biz, which is BIZ on the end, and Cohens with an S. Also, my website is CohensConsulting.biz, and you can select to have a free discovery call, which is about 30 minutes to see if we're a good fit. And also on Facebook, I'm under Katrina M. Cohens. And like I said, my Facebook group is Courageous Women in Leadership. So.
Okay. All right, well, thank you so much. We're going to wrap it up here. As you guys know, every week we are here at the lovely Lavino Wine Bar, just sipping on some delicious wine and having great conversations. So you guys check it out here in Warner Robins, Georgia. And we will be back next week.